Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service. Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're always about the positive vibes here on the show, and with me right now, I've got a very special guest. You might recognize her from her time in UPW. She had a brief run in the WWE and has worked on Glow and is a Hollywood stuntwoman, actress, and pleased to welcome her to the show right now, the one, the only, Caryn Mower. Welcome to Wrestling with Heart.
Hi, nice to see you.
Yes. Let's talk about your upbringing in childhood. Where are you from?
Originally from Wisconsin, but I really wasn't raised in Wisconsin, but I grew up in Glendora, California, and then moved towards the north more, towards Thousand Oaks and Agora Hills.
So right in the center of Hollywood, right in the center of all the motion picture production work and everything.
Yeah, very much so.
Wow. So did you get to go to a lot of movies growing up, premieres or anything like that, any of the sort?
It's so funny because I'm not like that person. I started in the live shows at Universal, as I said before, so it was a lot of live shows, Universal. I never really cared about Hollywood. I just liked the physical aspect of it all. So when I moved to Hollywood, or more like, your Universal Studios and stuff, then I started getting into the live shows and things like that, and then started meeting the right people. So it was more like the live shows and things like that, but I never really went to premieres during that time or any of that.
It's interesting to be and take that all in because you're around so many people, actors, actresses, and right there in the center of it all. Now I was doing some research. Were your parents both phys ed teachers?
Yeah, good research. Oh my God, you're really good. Yeah, they were both PE teachers. My father was a PE teacher, golf coach. My mom was the same. I had them both as PE teachers in my high school and in my junior high school. But yes, very good. You're very good at your research.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Thank you. Wanted to make sure I got that right and accurate.
Yeah.
So was like exercise, phys ed, like was that something you wanted to pursue? Was that like your escape from the grind?
I guess it was part of the grind, it was part of the family. I was going to go be a PE teacher. All my family are teachers, so they were, either, English teachers or whatever. And I was going to go to Humboldt State up north to be a PE teacher. And then at that point, I started meeting some people. And so I ended up auditioning for Universal Studios for the Conan show. So I started live shows. So that's how I ixnayed college and went for the live shows at Universal Studios. And that's my first live show was the Conan show, playing Red Sonja.
And what was it like working on that production?
Oh, it was freaking phenomenal. I can't even tell you what live shows are like. They're so fun. You develop this whole fun family and you're doing a live show in front of everybody and you get the audience reaction and stuff. It's the best, the best.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work and a lot of people to really put that stuff together. And I'm sure you saw a lot of people come to those shows. I'd imagine it's a huge turnout.
Oh, huge, huge. Yeah. Yeah, I love it so much. That was like the start of my addiction. That was pretty much it. And then after Conan, um, then I was bartending and doing some other stuff, but that's when um I started hearing about wrestling and Rick Bassman. And so that was the whole step from there.
Tell me about how you first got involved with professional wrestling and everything that kind of.
It was kind of like a weird story because I didn't know Rick Bassman at that point because he was running UPW. But what was really interesting, I knew a lot of people, or I was connected to a lot of people that knew that I was doing jujitsu and karate and all that stuff, and then knew I was doing live shows. And they said, you should audition for WWE, or was it WWF at the time? I think it was WWF at that time because they changed it. So it was WWF at that time. And a friend of a friend of a friend said, go audition. That's when I met Rick Bassman there. And they started giving me some basic training. I did have jujitsu training, all that stuff. Uh, the audition was extremely simple. I'm sure it's so difficult now, but I went in, we went into this wrestling room, did some basic moves or whatever. And I don't know who was there from WWF at the time, but they were watching you and doing all this stuff. And then at that time, Rick Bassman started to kind of be my agent from UPW because I was practicing with them. And at that point, uh, they sent me some emails and all that, told me to do a biography about my history, and then I got a development contract. I know it's not like that now, but it was very, very basic.
Well, you had experience in martial arts. Do you feel like there were some similarities that you noticed that you're able to pick up the work a little faster?
Oh, absolutely, because of judo and jujitsu and all the martial arts stuff, with throwing and hitting the ground and knowing how to land and all that stuff. Yeah, and then UPW helped with so I started working with UPW, and then they helped me with, the lockups and things like that. So I'm a fast learner. I'm a very fast learner. Not that I'm a great learner, but I'm a fast learner.
When I've talked to people on the show, we've talked about the training process, about how things are difficult and hard when you're learning and you're trying to get the techniques down. What was your experience like working with Rick Bassman and UPW? Did it come, quicker as far as, you start, you lock up, you do these drills? Talk to me about your experiences.
Well, Rick was great, of course. I would meet at down south in Long Beach. We go to a gym and we would practice lockups, basic moves. I would learn not that I remember them all now, but there was a lot of certain moves that you had to learn, and taking bumps and working with other wrestlers that were starting out at that time. And that's how I started practicing with UPW. I wasn't in WWE really yet. They wanted me, but they wanted to see how I worked at that point. So I went down south 3 days a week, practiced, and trained with a lot of other newbies, as what they say. So
It can be very intense.
oh
Um,
yeah. Oh yeah.
any particular advice that you got from Rick and some of your trainers early on that you recall and might even still apply to today?
I guess that's a great question. That's a great question. I don't know how to answer that. I know Rick was just train hard and pay attention. I mean, at that point, but I was just I was flabbergasted because I was just so green. I was as green as they get. I had a background, I had wrestling background, I had a little stunt background at that time, and I guess they believed in me and knew I could probably adjust to it. So um but what you're asking me, I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know.
Any fun memories you want to share about your time in UPW and memories of being around the other girls?
Oh, all the girls were great. I'm trying to remember all their names. But Triple H was just starting out at that time. So was oh my God, he's so popular. Not Triple H, but he does a lot of movies. Come on,
The
he does the
Rock?
cow
The
commercials.
Rock?
No, not the Rock. Cow commercials. He does the milk commercial. Come on.
Cena? John Cena?
Yes. Yeah. So Xena, he was so green. He was below me at that point. I was starting to wrestle in WWEF at the time, and he was rehearsing at UPW, which was amazing. And he was this tiny little guy learning. It was just so crazy. And then uh just to see him grow like that. So it was great to work with him there. It was amazing.
And it's crazy that I don't know if you follow wrestling today, but he just announced he's going to be retiring this year.
Yeah.
So,
Is he really?
yeah.
Well, because he's so busy in the business. It's like he doesn't want to mess up his body. You mess up your body in that, and he's busier in Hollywood commercials and movies and stuff. Good for him.
And it's amazing, you were there when he started out and
Oh, he was
you,
green as green can be. I remember that very much when he walked into UPW and he was practicing stuff. And I remember Rick going, he's going to be big. He's going to be big. And he was. He's big. Nice guy. Amazing.
When you're around all these people, I think the cool thing about wrestling is that you have your friends and there's a lot of camaraderie that goes on during that time. So, any fun stories on the road or just traveling that you want to share or recall?
Oh, there's a lot of great stories I can recall and tell. I mean, they're not always great stories. I don't think I say this a lot, and I've said it with a couple other interviews. I didn't really do well in wrestling because I think at that point I was trying to figure out if I wanted to do stunts or not. Also, the writers are involved. The writers are very involved. That was when Trish Stratus and China were very popular, and I came in at that point. And so the writers write you in, but I didn't have great experience. I can tell you that wasn't great. It was very difficult that time because there were so many women, and the women weren't very nice. But it was kind of Lillian Garcia was my savior. And Lisa Marie was my savior because I knew her from Waterworld because she worked with me at Waterworld, the live show. Not great times, but a learning experience. So it wasn't a good camaraderie with the women. Not really. It was kind of a fight zone. It should have been, yeah, it was a little bit of a fight zone. Wasn't great, but it was okay.
Well, talk to me about your time with Lillian and I believe Victoria, Lisa
Oh yeah,
Marie.
yeah, we go by, I know I call her by her name.
Yeah.
Lillian was great because when I first started there, oh my God, she was so helpful. She helped me with everything because you basically are on your own, where to go, where to drive, where to, figure it out. And Lillian was great. And then Victoria, she was very helpful. Trish Stratus was great at the time. Both of her and I came in at the same time. Lita was great. Uh, but Lillian, I can tell you, we've been friends for this long. I don't talk to her all the time, but that woman was helpful. It was great.
Now you ha had a brief run in WWF as well. You were storyline with you and Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah, yeah. I think uh, so what happened was I was being they basically put me out there. I got out there, I did a great job. I didn't get to wrestle on TV, but what ended up happening is I think maybe on fourth, fifth, sixth show, road show or something, they put me out there and I was, Stephanie McMahon's personal trainer saying, mean things to people. You're fat, you're ugly, you're lazy, all that stuff. And what ended up happening was, I think it was in the New York show, I wasn't sure. Um, when the cameras go to the audience and stuff, I think they focused on a woman who wasn't in shape, overweight was a problem. This is what I heard through the grapevine before they let me go, that when I was pointing to the audience saying, you're fat, you're lazy, you're ugly, all this, I think her mother was in the audience and was really upset about it. And so they didn't care for my character at that point, because I was a mean instructor, you know.
Hmm.
That was my basis of it. And then I think about 2 weeks later, they basically asked me to go back to training. And I think they wanted to redo my name because it didn't work out very well. So that's my guess. I don't know all of the happenings of it, but
Now, during your time in the business, do you recall any favorite opponents that you had? You got to work with several people down in UPW during your time there that you want to talk
all
about,
of them,
share?
no, but all of them were great. I can't even remember their names. It's horrible. I'm trying to think of a couple great girls I worked with. Uh, I should have wrote those down, but I didn't. But all of the girls in UPW, all were great. We worked great together. It's different in WWE at this point. It's very easy to wrestle men. So when China was wrestling, China never wrestled women. She didn't want to wrestle women. And I can understand why, because you look better when you're wrestling men. But these days, these women wrestlers are incredible. I wish I could wrestle with some of these women right now. intense, great training. The time that I was there, a lot of the women I was working with, they were great, but at that point they were rising up China, and she was wrestling the men a lot. But in UPW, all the women and we coexist together. It was awesome. All of us were awesome. But WWE is so different, very different.
Well, let's talk for a second. Do you keep up at all with the product now? Do you see anything as far
I
as like the women's?
I should, but I shouldn't. I do see a few women, but I don't pay attention. But when I see things and I know how great these women are, I'm so excited. All these women are so awesome.
Yeah, women's wrestling is definitely t kicked up the notch in recent years. I mean, you're seeing a rise, and I think it's fantastic that you have all these women's promotions, not just in the big companies, but promotions that are
Yeah.
specifically women's wrestling promotions. So I think it's a good thing that you're seeing all that happen.
I love it. I love the fact that they don't have to be they're all sexy in all their own ways. That's important. But it's not like a model wrestling. During that time, it was a lot of like, the pretty girls and stuff, and they still could wrestle. But these girls now, I know that they wrestle hard and they take bumps and take beating. Good, good for them. This is great. I'm glad that they're raising up the women's wrestling. That's great. So different. So different.
It's a night and day difference. You see
It
over
is.
time the progression of women's wrestling. You
It is.
see how these women, I mean, some people might even argue that the women's matches are better than the men's.
That's what I hear, and I love it. I love it. I think it's so great, and the girls are so hardcore. Kudos to them.
Now, you did glow for a period of time after your run in UPW and WWE ended. Can you elaborate on anything that you remember from your time with Glow as a touring?
Fun. I mean, I don't know. I was just learning all these women from Glow. I didn't realize how Glow was so popular. That was like a huge show. I have to tell you though, when I got into wrestling, I knew nothing about wrestling. All I knew was about stunts and all that. So when I got into wrestling, it was a whole learning process. And then getting into Glow was a whole learning process. So I was as green as they possibly could and trying to pretend that I knew about it, but I didn't. But all those women, God, their characters and their acting and they did some great, I mean, it's of course it's not at the status now what we do for wrestling, but back at that day, killed it. But all the women were great. Everybody, they were so sweet.
It does feel like a family at times, a sisterhood, a brotherhood. And
Yeah,
I think in recent times, especially now, I think it's a feels like a very close knit group of people that really
I
want to
hope
help
so.
each other.
I hope so. It wasn't like that when I was there, but I hope it is now. I hope so.
Well, let's talk about switch gears and talk about the stuff you're doing outside of the business. You've done a lot of charity work and done stuff to help out in your community. Anything you want to talk to me about, share that you've helped out with over the years?
Yeah, well, I think it's important always for anybody to get into charity. I think it's a purpose. We all have to have a purpose. We always have to give back. I know that sounds like a, a, a normal thing for people to say, but I feel an enlightenment from it. I feel excitement from it, and I feel a satisfaction from it. And I've helped with I love physical fitness. So the first charity that I helped with 15 years ago, and it's still continuing, is called Fit for the Cause. And basically that is it provides physical fitness for disparaged people. So if they're slow or they have ailments or whatever, this company provides classes, Zumba classes, weight classes, whatever that they can't afford. So a lot of the people that are having ailments or physical ailments, they provide for that. And this company, they've changed names, and I just asked her, it's changed to Active saluteconnect.org. So she sold the company and went to a different thing, but it's the best company. She provides um, for all different levels and physical fitness for free.
That's so fascinating that
I
there's
love
a
it.
organization like this that help out people that are going through a hard time, and it's so amazing, because we need exercise. It helps us gets, the mind going. I love the concept too.
Yeah, because people with Alzheimer's or whatever it is, she's going to provide all classes for that. So, and it's all free for them, and they come to the classes and take those, and they get physical fitness and they get interaction with other people, and so I've been helping with that. And the other one I've been helping with, of course, animals. A crazy animal person. I can't even tell you how many animals I have, but Sunny Saints. Um, when I first got my first Saint Bernard, I was lost. So of course I went to Facebook, asked questions, and then I ended up connecting with Sunny Saints. And what it does is you help foster or help connect with other people with dogs. And now all I do on Facebook is I have connections with dogs or cats or cows or goats or things like that. So it's a foster family. And every time somebody goes, "Hey, Caryn, I have a dog. Who do you know?" And so then I go on Facebook and do that. So that I truly love too. So it's animals and fitness that I'm helping with.
They're pretty
Yeah,
good angles there. Um,
yeah, I love.
leave it to social media to find places where you can connect with, the animals of your choice to help out. That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. Social media is incredible. So yeah, so it's mostly animals and physical fitness.
Well,
That's
what
it.
what is your favorite part about helping out with these charities?
Seeing animals get homes, seeing how people react to getting the animals, seeing um, all different kinds of levels of people, whether they're 80, 50, 13, 12, 10, getting physical fitness and finding how encouraging it is to see them move, instead of sitting around or watching TV or all those things on your phone and stuff. They're interacting. And when you get a community, when you go work out, it's the best. You want to go there again. So it makes me want to be there. People are happy to be there. So I think it's the happiness and it's like a family. It's a fitness family and an animal family.
Yeah, it's definitely motivational too, because you want to
Yes,
be as involved as possible. I
I
mean,
love it.
there's so much stuff going on in the world. Take your brain off that, go help out as much as you can, because you just never
Payback.
know.
Everybody needs a payback. And I know a lot of people are like, what charity could I do? What do I want to do? What do I want to do? You'll find it. But I think it's very important that everybody finds some charity to help with that you feel passionate about. Not that you have to do it. When you find a passion for it, it's easy peasy at that point.
It definitely is, especially with something that you love and care for. And
Yeah.
if you see a goal, especially that you want to help with at a certain point, and
Yes.
3 months from now, 5 months from now, a year from now, you could be making a big difference.
Huge difference. And then the thing is sometimes people are like, I don't know, I don't know. But when they find it, they'll find it. Just always keep looking. And you know what? Even if you have a friend that's doing it, just go and check it out. Oh, what are they doing or whatever. So I think everybody just needs to do a charity, something, anything, whatever.
Yes.
Even like right now, all my friends are helping with the fires and things like that because I'm all near the Malibu fires. So whatever you can do, I'm telling you right now, you're going to meet so many amazing people. Get you out of the house and stop watching TV.
Yeah. I mean, it's terrible what's going on in California, and I'm glad you're safe and are doing well. But it was just I'm sure it was just so devastating.
I don't even want to, I live about 15 minutes from PCH, 20 minutes maybe from PCH. Obviously, I can't go down there right now, but I don't even want to go down there and drive PCH because it's depressing. But
Yeah. But it just goes a long way, kind of spreading the love out there, because
yeah.
it's so many people are going through a lot, with these wildfires, with floods, with hurricanes that have happened over the last year or so. People need, help out there, so whatever you can do, you'd be helping them in a big way.
Well, I love that when you call, when you know, text me or whatever we contacted and you were asking about charities. I'm like, is that real? Is that real? Because I think it was amazing that you asked about charities because most people don't talk about charities. And it's not like we're trying to force it on anybody, but I really think that's amazing on your side
Thank
to
you.
find interest. So when people watch these things, they might think, oh, well, maybe I'll do that, or maybe I'll do that. So kudos to you for doing that. That's really spectacular.
I appreciate that. We're a growing podcast. We're trying to grow our following, so every little bit helps along the way for support.
Well,
So thank you.
good. Well, no, kudos to you. That's a big deal. Big
Thank,
deal.
thank you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
this has been wonderful getting the chance to speak with you. It means a lot to me and to
Yeah.
my listeners and viewers that are watching this. Where can people find out more about you if they want to reach out, to say hello?
They can always email me, or they can go on to Instagram, Caryn Mower. I know they always say Caryn, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't care. The only reason I don't say it's Caryn, but nowadays with Caryn, people are like Caryn. So, but you can find me on Instagram, TikTok. I know it's kind of weird right now. Email me, carynmower@mac.com, whatever. I'm open to anything. I haven't been that big of a wrestler, but I do get some really wonderful people emailing me, and I'm grateful for that. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, and you're more than welcome to come back.
I would love that, and thank you for reaching out. I think this is awesome.
Absolutely. Well, take care.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.